Good morning, everybody. It's your boy D Max. So let's talk about it. All right. So now I've been having a topic going on for the past couple of days pertaining to anger and anger management and how to deal with this stuff. Because if you've been following me for a little bit, you know that I had a difference of opinion with somebody, and it got to a point to where I was ready to do that thing, ready to show my shoulder work. And so I was thinking about it all yesterday and stuff, man. And I was thinking about oftentimes whenever we get out here, we see on a regular basis different road rage situations and how those situations ended up with somebody losing their life, man. Good morning, your crazy cousin. Blessed to see you, my brother. And this is something that's real important because we see people out here losing their life on the regular, man, over something that is so minute and that is so insignificant to life, man. It's unnecessary. And people don't really think about it in the moment. They just want to settle that issue or get their point across in that moment. And they're so high energy that they don't take the time to back up and breathe and really think about the situation. And then somebody's pulled a gun already. People are so quick to pull a gun before they'll think. And, situations end up real bad. And as bad as I think I am a lot of times, which I really do have a sense of, I feel like I'm the baddest man in the world at times. I also do have the common sense to stop and think and understand that somebody can have my number. Things might not go my way in the situation as bad as I think I am, and as much knowledge about combat maneuvers as I have. That don't mean that everything is going to go my way, and it can turn out bad for me. So I do have that understanding about me. And so when I'm out here and I have these situations and I come in contact with people, yeah, my first initial reaction is going to be, what motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? And I'm ready to go, but then I have to stop myself because I understand that it's more than me that's involved in this. If I hit this man, if I shoot this man, if I do whatever to this man, there's going to be some consequences that come behind that. And it's not going to affect me. It's going to affect all of the people that's directly and indirectly connected to me. It's going to affect my children. It's going to affect my grandbabies. It's going to affect my wife. It's going to affect everybody that's in my circle. And so, I think about things like this and I consider these things before I start to make a move, man. And even as bad as I want to make something happen, I'm going to weigh the pros and the cons of it before I see if it's something that I need to pursue or if it's something that I need to back off of because the end result is not that important. And so, in this society that we live in, man, and this younger generation that's coming up, you see that they have no conflict resolution skills whatsoever. They go out here and they shoot first and they ask questions later. But by the time they ask questions, the only question that they can ask is how much time I'm going to get. So, in the vein of that right there, man, I just wanted to talk to my brother this morning because I was having a discussion, man, and I was talking about that whole Hulk analogy because it's either one way or the other with me. It's either I'm Bruce Banner or I'm Hulk. But sometimes I got to be able to keep the Hulk at bay because the end result is not going to be worth it. And so there's techniques that I use. I use breathing techniques. I sit back and I'll just breathe and just catch a rhythm with my breathing, man. And at first, when I started doing this stuff, because I did take I've taken many anger management classes, but I never really applied this stuff because at first I thought, man, this is lame, this is whack, this stuff ain't gonna really work until I was placed in a situation in the moment that could have went north, south, east, or west with it. And the decision that was made in the moment saved my life probably and saved these other people's lives too, because that pole was up on me. It was in my face. And there was no backing down in me, even with the pole in my face. But still, I had to think about it, man. This dude, he got the drop on me. He don't want to shoot that gun because it was shaking so bad that he couldn't even have a thing. He couldn't have possibly had it aimed at me because he was shaking so bad. He just wanted me to back up off of him. He wanted to eliminate the threat of danger in that moment because he was scared. I saw the fear in his eyes. Now, if I would have persisted and I would have moved forward, that young man would have killed me out of straight fear. Most of these guys out here that's dying in these streets, it ain't because that dude is mad. It's because that dude is scared. They letting that thing go out of fear, out of total and utter fear. There's no bravado behind it. There's no, yeah, I'm getting you behind it. There's none of that. They're in fear of their life and they feel like they gotta eliminate the threat immediately before their life is taken, man. And you have to understand that. You have to understand that, man, because there's been so many people out here. Like I said before, what's the dude? Young Thug. His baby mama got murdered at a bowling alley over an argument. And I'm very, very sure that whatever the issue was, I think it was over a ball, somebody's turn to roll the ball. That very easily could have been fixed without somebody having to go outside and get a gun and shoot that young lady down like that. And so I think about these scenarios. I make up 6 to 7 different scenarios in my head about what specifically is going on with me and my situation. So like this cat that I've been dealing with and you know, had a little scruffle with, I went back and forth in my head with like 6 or 7 different scenarios of how that thing could play out. And then none of those things benefit either one of us in any type of way. And so, you know, when we put stuff out there in the universe like that, once we release it from our mouth, it's gonna go out and it's gonna accomplish what it set out to do, and it's gonna come back to us. And like I said, whenever it come back to you, you got to be able to deal with the energy that's gonna be coming back at you. So that's why I say you have to think before you really feed into these different situations and confrontations that we get in with people. Consider the cost, weigh out the cost, the pros and the cons of that thing, man, because when you get done with actual reasoning, then you're going to come to a conclusion that, man, this ain't even worth it. And I ain't worried, and you don't have to be worried about what people say. You a punk. You scared. I knew you wasn't about that life, bro. Those comments and shit like that don't matter, dog. That don't matter. What matters is your life is still intact. What matters is that you're still in a position to take care of your family and be the man that you're supposed to be and give an example of conflict resolution to a generation who desperately need this type of teaching, man. This is a generation that is hurting so bad, man, and they out here and they run around, they're looking for a resolution. I was talking to somebody yesterday, man, and I was talking about imparting wisdom in young people, and they was like, that's all they gonna do is not pay you no attention and go out and do whatever. I was like, man, just because they give you pushback in the beginning don't mean that you stop trying to impart wisdom in them. What's wrong with you? We be giving up on this next generation way too easy, man. If my grandparents and my parents would have gave up on me like that, dog, I wouldn't be here today to even be giving this type of conversation with anybody, because I definitely would have been one of them little wild fools out there doing any and everything, just like most of my friends that I grew up around. But I had a daddy that would punch me in my face. Even after my daddy died, man, and my friends would go out and do some crazy stuff, and they'd be mad, yo, you gonna do this? One of the first things that pop in my head is, man, my daddy kicked my ass if he thought I was doing something this stupid. But I had that thing to slow me down. I had that teaching to stop me from doing these foolish things and putting myself in a situation that I didn't need to be. It was kind of like that scene from Boys in the Hood whenever Trey was ready to go out there and get some revenge for Ricky, and his daddy was like, nah. And even though his daddy was like, nah, he gave that initial pushback and he ran and jumped out the window and he jumped in the car with Doughboy and them anyway because he wanted to get back in that moment. He was so angry. But the seed that was planted in his head by what his father said to him made him think. And before they got to the destination, the young man stopped. It's like, Doughboy, let me out. Because his dad planted a seed in him. Doughboy didn't have nobody to plant no seed in him. When everything went down, what happened? His mama blamed him for everything. And his mama, she pushed even more bad energy on that young man to make him go out and do what he did, and ultimately lost his life after taking the life of those young men. So we put ourselves in these situations, man, a lot of times. And depending on what seed's been planted in your mind and in your heart, then you either gonna make the right decision or you're gonna make the wrong decision. And I tell people all the time, though, look, leave me alone. I don't bother nobody. So if you persist to push with me, and I decide to move forward and give you that smoke, everything that's coming to you is deserved, because this is something that I've thought through. I ain't gonna just come at you without thinking the thing through. I'm gonna weigh my options in this situation, and like I said, whatever the end result is, I make the decision whether I'm going to accept those consequences or not. So when I do decide to say something to you, when I do decide to keep the fire lit and keep that thing going, I've thought about what the consequences are gonna be, and I'm okay with that. And that in that moment, not even just in that moment, it's I've been thought all the way through and all the way clear. But I'm always gonna add that but. When you as a real man can really set aside your pride, because that's what it all comes down to with these confrontations. It comes down to pride. Your pride has been shook. Your pride has been questioned or threatened. And so you're going to have to try to get face back. And so you're not going to, in that moment, especially if it's done publicly out in front of people, people who you consider to respect you and stuff like that, you're not going to concede to anybody else. And you're going to want to flex your muscle, and you're going to want to be seen as dominant in the situation. But a smart man understands, man, that sometimes you have to let all that bravado go, man. You have to let all of that pride and all of that crap go at the end of the daggone day and say, you know what? I'm a person who's about building. I'm a person who's about trying to bring life and speak life into a situation. So, is this really going to be worth losing the purpose that I've placed in myself to bring forth? And you make that determination. I can't tell you what decision to make, because we all have our reasons, and there's all different types of variables in these confrontations. So I cannot tell you what decision to make. But what I will say is, think it all the way through. Weigh your pros and your cons before you go into these situations, because if you just act out of emotion, then you're going to end up messing up your life and a whole lot of other lives, because you didn't give yourself an opportunity to find out what was going to be most beneficial in your actions in that situation. And going back to the emotions things, this is one of the main things that fuels a lot of this stuff, is emotions. Nobody has any self-control. Nobody has the mindset to stop and think about all of these different variables that I've been explaining for the last 14 minutes, because pride sets in. And a lot of people will attribute it to, well, I wasn't taught nothing. I didn't have nobody to teach me this. Life teaches you a whole lot of things that absent parents don't teach you. There is a teacher. They say life is a teacher all the time. And that's absolutely true, because my pops died when I was 17 years old. So yeah, up until I was 17, yeah, I did have that guidance. But after my pops died, my mom couldn't do too much with me. And so life had to teach me a whole lot of those man lessons that my pops wasn't there to teach me. And so we can't live off of that bull crap lie that, man, I ain't got nobody, I ain't have nobody to show me nothing. No, life is gonna teach you. But are you willing to learn? That's the real question right there. Are you teachable? There's a lot of teachers out here in this world, but if you're not teachable, then you're going to find yourself in a lot of these predicaments, and you're going to find yourself following the wrong path every single time. And a lot of times you don't get no second chances in this climate that we're in now. Because like I said, these emotional people, they're going to get out here, and most of them triggers that's being pulled is out of absolute fear. There's no bravado behind it. There's no manhood behind it. None of that. Is absolute terror. They don't want to be touched. They don't want to fight. They don't want to, none of that. They don't want to be knocked out in front of their friends. They don't want to be embarrassed. So they would take your life on the spot instead of being embarrassed in front of their friends. Now, a lot of us that in the core that I hang in, we grew up in the era where you could take a loss. You can get out there and throw hands and take a loss, and then come back the next day. You and your boys will laugh about it and talk about it, and probably you and the dude who fight end up being friends right back like it was before. That was the type of honor that we had in combat growing up for me. But that absolutely does not exist anymore. And so when you get out here, if you do fight somebody and beat them up, you got to worry about them coming back with all types of guns and catching you and killing you. You even have to worry about that with females nowadays. I just saw the other day where this dude lost his life to his girlfriend because she felt like he was cheating on her and he was about to leave her for this another female. So she smoked that dude, took him out of here. Nobody has no type of conflict resolution, and they act off of emotion, and they're killing people at a rampant rate, man. So my thing is this, man. We got an issue, and you really, really want to solve that issue, then you'll come at me like a man. You'll be a man about it, whether, right or wrong, indifferent, whatever the case may be. If you're a real man and you claim that you've done the due diligence and you've been through this and you've been through that and you've built yourself up to the character and the standards of what we call a man, then you'll be willing to operate in that which you say manhood is to you and come to me like a man. Ain't nobody that I'm going to have a confrontation with that I'm going to sit and just talk behind their back and not bring it to their face like a man. That's what I do as a man. That's what I was taught as a man. And so any issue that I have with you, I'm going to bring it straight to you. And I'm going to give you the opportunity to settle that situation like a man, whether it's you want to fight or whether you just want to dead it and talk it out from there. I'm giving that opportunity. I'm always going to give that opportunity. Now, your actions after that is what it is. It is what it is. And I'm fine with that. So if we got to fight, then I'm going to put them things on you, or you're going to put them things on me. And whatever the end result of that is, I'm fine with that. I live with that. But I'm going to tell you, most of the times I come out on top. Like 99.999% of the time I come out on top. Because like I said, I was trained as a boxer as a young man. And that's something that you never lose. Just like riding a bike. I can throw these things just as quick as I used to. Them shoulders still absolutely work. So just understand that. So when I say that I want to put them things out there, I got confidence in mine. I ain't even tripping on that. But my thing is, I want you to be okay with whatever the end result is. Because like I said, I give you the opportunity to make a choice. I give you the opportunity to stand up and be a man about yours and do what's right in the situation. So anything after that happens, I'm okay with it. I'm full throttle with it. But yeah, man, ears to the streets. This is who I'm talking about. Everybody know who I'm talking about. And this is my last time. I'm done with this whole entire thing. Everybody heard the little the little show that I put out there, everybody heard me explain very simply and very easily what my entire issue with the brother was, where he was wrong. And so he chose to do what his little crew over there pushes him to do. And he chose to take that bravado and that pride air angle with it. And like I said, I'm from the Carolinas. I will be in the Carolinas Labor Day weekend. And there's nothing but air and opportunity between me where I am in North Carolina and South Carolina. And so, you know, it ain't no big thing to me, man. It ain't something that I'm gonna just be harping on every day, and I'm gonna be in the meat locker like Rocky, hitting on pieces, sides of meat, and all of that stuff. Nah, it ain't even that serious in my life. But I always leave an open invitation for a brother to settle something with me in any type of way that he want to settle it, and I'm okay with that. But a lot of times it never comes to that point. It never gets to that point because most of the people that I deal with, most of the people that I associate and interact with are man enough to make a sensible decision. Sometimes they don't. Every now and then you get a few who just persist on wanting to get beat up, and that's what happens sometimes. And then you have most of the ones, they will do the honorable manly thing and they'll settle the situation. And so either way it goes, this is a teachable moment for anybody. It's been teachable for me because it's shown me how much I've grown as a person, and it's shown me areas where I still need to work on some things. So in every situation, it's going to be a teachable moment for me, and I'm going to learn something about myself, and I'm going to learn something about that perceived enemy. And I'm learning a lot about people. I'm learning a lot about people in these YouTube streets. I'm learning a lot about bravado, and I'm learning a lot about how the thoughts of notoriety will push a person into a corner that they really don't want to be in, but they can't afford to back themselves out of that corner because they done talk way too much. I understand that. I understand somebody talking themselves into a position where now they got to put up or shut up. I see it. I see it in their eye. I hear it in their voice. And so, yeah, I just leave things where they are and go on with my shows, and I'm gonna continue to stay on my points, and I'm gonna continue to build up my people and bring forth some type of information that's going to help my people to grow in some type of way. And using this as a teaching moment is also going to be a part of that platform. Every single thing I do, I try to find something beneficial out of it that's going to help me to grow as a person and help somebody else grow. And like I said, I had a conversation this morning with a brother because of that Hulk analogy that I made, and he was saying, man, that he dealing with PTSD too, and he deals with, having to be able to calm himself down and still have them struggles. Brother, I hear you, man. And I'm glad you let me know that I'm not alone in this, even though, in the back of my mind, I know that I ain't the only person that go through this stuff. But to hear an actual brother come out and be like, yo, man, I'm dealing with that same thing too. That's what this is all about, dog. That's the beneficial part. That's the bright and shining star out of this whole entire situation that's taking place. Because it's a brother that, hey man, well, I do these breathing techniques, you know what I'm saying? And at first I thought the stuff was lame, but it actually works. I run cold water on my face, dog, and this helped me to calm down, and it really helps me to focus my thoughts and really, really think these things through. So, shouts out to you, brother, man, for reaching out and letting me know that it's other people out here who's struggling with this. And this was the whole thing that made me upset in the first place to even initiate the type of energy that I did, because the understanding that there are people out here who are really battling this PTSD thing, and it ain't no joke. It ain't no game. It ain't something for you to just shit on because it's men out here who are making life-changing decisions on a daily basis because they dealing with anger management. They dealing with PTSD. They dealing with the paranoia. They dealing with all of these different things that are a snap decision between losing a life and staying alive. So yeah, I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna always defend anybody who's dealing with these types of problems, and I'm gonna always check anybody who speaks negatively against PTSD and people who deal with it. I'm always gonna be a defender of that. That's where all of my motivation and my energy comes from, being a defender of those people who don't have the opportunity or the platform to speak on this stuff themselves and to be able to express this stuff themselves. So anybody who ever disrespect a service member, police officers deal with PTSD. Hell, people in the hood, all of these little young boys and girls who see all of these traumatic things in their neighborhoods, they dealing with PTSD. And so for anybody to try to shit on PTSD, you shitting on a whole lot of people that are around you. People who you don't even know is dealing with PTSD. But if these kids have seen traumatic experiences and had these traumatic things happen in their life, in their neighborhoods, that's PTSD. The paranoia that they have, the fear, the constant fear that they have because of what they saw take place, PTSD. So I'm fighting for a whole lot of people. I'm defending a whole lot of people, and I'm ready to punch somebody's face in on behalf of a whole lot of people. That's where D-Mac stand on this, man. Shout out to everybody who has these problems. Shout out to everybody who's battling it. You ain't the only one. D-Mac is battling it. And all of these other brothers and sisters are battling it right along with you. You ain't by yourself. Just know that, man. Good morning, Reverend Tony. Good morning, all you brothers and sisters, man. I love y'all, man. I got so much love for you. I appreciate y'all's support. I appreciate everything, that's been brought to my attention. Everything that's been brought to my attention. The crazy cousin said, bro, that's me with the road rage. I done jumped out on several people. I'm surprised I'm still here. Bro, you and me too, man. I followed people to their house. I followed people to the store and told them to get out their car. All of that crazy stuff, man. And I had this one situation, man, where I was coming across the road and almost had a car accident. And, I kept going because we didn't hit cars or anything like that. We just came close. And I kept on going, not even thinking about it. Don't you know that fool circled back around in front of me and up that pole in my face out the window of his car? And all I had to do was reach down and grab mine from under the seat. And there we would have been having a shootout in a residential area over something that could have taken place but didn't. Yeah, man, these types of situations have happened to me on a regular basis, man, on a regular basis. And my life could have been gone right there. Now, what would have been the conversation that my wife would have had with people? Yeah, he couldn't control himself. He almost had a car accident, and they decided that they wanted to shoot each other because they almost had a car accident because somebody made a mistake. Over a mistake. What would the conversation be for my children, man? How would you explain it to my grandbabies when they get old enough to ask the question, what happened to Pawpaw? Oh, Pawpaw got mad and decided to pull his gun on these people because they pulled a gun on him over a traffic situation. That ain't the type of story that I won't have told to me. Told about me to my grandchildren, man. That's not what I want them to hear about me. Because that could plant a seed in a child to where they feel like, well, that's how my pawpaw rock out here in these streets. I want that same child. I want that same energy. There's a whole lot of kids out here who are acting off of the past reputation of a family member who was seemingly respected in the streets. But we are old enough to know that the streets don't respect nothing or nobody. The streets don't love nothing or nobody. So that mindset and that mentality is a lot has been told to trick these kids into going out here losing their life to these streets that don't love nobody. These are things you got to take into consideration, and I've taken these things into consideration, man. And I've decided that I don't want that outcome for me and my family. I don't want that type of energy to be passed down to these babies who are looking up to me as somebody in their life that they want to pattern themselves after. I can't do that. I already got enough bad stuff that I got to deal with in my own personal actions and behavior than to add and compile that on top of everything else. So, yo, dog, I said my piece on this whole thing. I laid out everything. At this point, ain't nothing else for me to be said. Ain't no more energy for me to put into this. It's dead to me unless somebody dig it up out of the grave. That's where DMAC is with everything. But like I said, everybody know where I stand and they know what I stand for on this. Period, point blank. Hey, Reverend Tony, crazy cousin, everybody else involved. Hey, man, much love. Y'all brothers keep on doing what you're doing. I always got your back on whatever. Whatever. That's how I roll. Whenever I decide that somebody is cool with me and that I'm going to deal with that person, brother, I got your back on whatever. I'm there. I'm just a touch away, bro. Just like that. That's what I was always gonna be. Ain't gonna be no damn switching up. Ain't gonna be no playing both sides of the fence. I don't do that. If I'm with you, I'm with you. That's period, point blank. So, hey man, much love to y'all, man. Y'all brothers have a blessed morning, man. Y'all know what I say. Sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word can heal you. I'm out.